Well, we're sitting in the studio today and we're talking to Lisa Louise Keane, who's a professional photographer, an HGV driver, a choir singer. She sings with me actually in the rock choir, so I see her fairly regularly. And she races radio-controlled cars. I know nothing about this, but she does do it nationally, and she's been doing it a long time and has got lots and lots of trophies. But on a more personal level, Lisa Louise is also transgender. And so we're going to have a little chat about that today. Hello, Lisa.
Hello.
Tell me a little bit about the radio-controlled cars.
Yes, they're called what's called a 1/10 scale. Touring car, electric powered. I race indoors on a Friday night at West Bridgford. Raced there for 4 or 5 years now. But also race on tarmac outdoor events all over the country. There's 2 national championships. I competed in both of them over the years. Won various rounds and over the years.
Got trophies?
Yes, got trophies galore all over the place. Didn't do any last year. Took a year off last year, but this coming year I've got some sponsorship this year. I'm a sponsored driver now, so going to do a national championship this year and see how we do.
Wow.
So,
Lisa, tell me a bit more about the singing. I know you like to sing.
sing soprano, upper soprano in the rock choir in Grantham on a Wednesday night. Love it. It's just so uplifting though. You can have a rubbish week. You can not feel like going at all. You do, I don't want to go rock choir tonight, but you get there and you meet a few people. I'm one of the greeters, so I'll greet a lot of people as they come in, newbies. And it just lifts you straight up and you leave the night on such a buzz. We learn so many different things, from ballads to rock songs, well, hence the name rock choir, but we do such a wide range. And
Is it 4-part harmony? It's sometimes a bit more than that, isn't it?
yes, sometimes it's 5 parts, because you've got upper and lower altos, upper and lower sopranos and basses. 5-part harmony sometimes, or sometimes it's just the 3 parts separate alto, soprano, basses. It's different every term, because you learn 3 or 4 songs a term, so you're always learning something
So that
new.
builds up. You've got quite a lot of songs you can sing then.
Yes, well, we've only been doing it, me and my partner have been doing it 2 years, not like some of the members who've been there donkey's years, but you look at our folders now and they're absolutely bulging from the different lyrics. And it's strange, you sort of haven't done a song for like nearly a year, and it's, we're going to recap this, and you think...
Can you remember?
Yeah, a couple of verses and you're straight back into it straight away. And it does help with the choir leader, she's very good at...
She gives you the words.
Expressing the words, yes, without saying them.
And the moves, because you have to move a bit too, don't you?
Yes, doing the moves can be a bit challenging sometimes. Been line dancing over years, we don't really think about the moves.
Well, line dancing looks absolutely fabulous. I've never done any, but I've seen it. I've seen it being done. I bet it keeps you fit, doesn't it?
Does keep it reasonably fit. I don't do as much as I used to. I tend to do socials at weekends, about once a month. My partner dances every week at the U3A, but I don't dance so much now. But I still keep my hand in as such, so to speak. But I said we just do socials, but if I hear a dance I like, I'd either get up and learn it or learn it on YouTube the following week, and then hopefully get the moves by the time we next do a social and they play it again. So that sort of thing. There's such a wide range of music with that as well, so you get a good interest from... They don't only play country, there's a lot of chart stuff, they do dances too.
So music's a big part of your life.
It is.
And also photography, I think.
Yeah, photography's a big part of it. So
You've just gone professional? Is that
yes,
a few years?
4 years now I've been
4 years
professional.
ago,
Yes.
right.
Got my chance through that, through line dancing actually, through a mutual friend. He's a Freemason, and he was the chair for that year, and it was his year to host. They have what's called a ladies' festival each year to celebrate the ladies of partners through Freemasonry, because the men tend to go to the Freemasons and leave their wives at home. So they have an event every year to celebrate the wives and partners. And when it was his year, I'd only turned professional 6 months or so, and he asked if I could photograph their event for him and do the prints, and that sort of really kick-started my career into the photography. And since then I've also got a studio at home, so I can take studio shots or location shots, weddings, christenings, you name it. Pets, people, I'll cover anybody.
Photograph anything.
Yes.
If it's not nailed down, well, even if it is, I guess.
Yes.
You photograph anything at all. Now, Lisa, one of the things you've told me is that you are, in fact, transgender. Now, I wondered how that comes to you. When do you first decide that whoever's running the universe has got it a little bit wrong for you?
It is a difficult question. For me, where I come from Suffolk, we had a 3-tier school system, so we had lower, middle and high school. And I mean, when I'm talking middle school, I was 8, 9, 10, something like that. And I'd see the female teachers and I think, why can't I wear their clothes? Why is that wrong? I couldn't figure it out at the time. And I mean, back then I'm talking late 80s, so we didn't have things like the internet or books, or there just wasn't the education out there. So I didn't know anything was wrong with me. I just thought, why can't I wear their clothes? It didn't occur to me that it was right or wrong. I knew it was wrong because that's how you're told by your peers, and you can't think like that. But in my head, I just didn't know. It didn't seem wrong to me.
And it's not really like that now, is it? Because I think you can pretty much do as you please now.
Yes.
Things are a lot more open and
Yes.
a lot easier.
Society is a lot more...
That sounds really difficult.
It is. Society nowadays is much more... There's more education. You have got things like the internet, so you can get... Information is more readily available, be it the wrong information or the right information, but information is out there. And also just society in general. I mean, a lot of it changed, I think, when the gay community sort of come out more, and it's stemmed from there. Yes, there's a lot of stigma still attached to being transgender, because a lot of people just don't understand it, but people seem to understand being gay, that you're attracted to the same sex. They don't seem to... Some people still don't understand that you want to be the opposite sex, and they get it very mixed up. They sometimes think gender and sexuality are the same thing when they're not. Two completely different things, gender and sexuality. I mean, as I'm transgender, I want to be a woman, but I'm also still attracted to women. Just because I want to be a woman doesn't necessarily mean I want to be with a man. So gender and sexuality, I think people have a difficulty with, because they understand sexuality, they can be attracted to the same sex, but they don't understand gender.
Going right back to those first experiences when you were at middle school.
Middle school, yes.
Did you tell your parents, or did you have to keep it to yourself and just worry about it?
Yes, at the time, when I was still in middle school, I thought, I daren't tell anybody about this. There's the society back then, you just daren't tell anybody. It wasn't really till I really left high school, when I was 17, 18, that I went to the doctors and asked them. And even they didn't really know anything about it at the time. They gave me some information at the time, which is from an organisation called the Beaumont Society. And at the time they helped people who were transvestites, who just liked to dress in women's clothes, and they didn't necessarily want to change their gender. Transvestite is somebody who gets pleasure from wearing the opposite sex clothes. And I didn't get that. That's not how I felt. I told my parents, at the time I was learning Danish because I worked with a Danish couple, and one night it just racked my brains. I thought, I've got to tell my parents. So I got home and told my parents. My mum was okay about it at the time.
How old were you then?
About 19, 20, something like that. Dad had a hard time dealing with it. And because I was still living at home at the time, I wasn't allowed to leave the house dressed or anything like that. Or they didn't want the neighbours to know anything like that. It was a different society back then. A couple of years after, when this went on for a few years, and then unfortunately my sister passed away.
Right. Younger, older?
Older. She was 8 years older than me. She died of alcoholism. So at the time, she was 34, I think. She would have been 50 this year, I think. So round about that sort of age. That tore my dad up, something chronic that did. But I'd say about a year or so after that, I was in my bedroom getting ready to go out. I was just trying on some new clothes. I can't remember what was happening. And my mum would come upstairs. She said, come down and let your dad see. And I said, no way. I thought my dad had hit the roof, so no way. But mum convinced me to go down, and my dad saw me for the first time, and his first words were, you look lovely. And for me, that just broke my heart in the right ways. I just thought, that's lovely that Dad's not accepted me, but just appreciates me for who I am. Unfortunately, he died a few years ago now.
So was it a gradual change from then? When did you start to get more acceptance from, say, the medical profession and find a route to actually be yourself?
For me, it started 2006. I moved up here. I started working at a children's activity centre. A lot of young adults there, and we used to have staff socials there. So one event, it was a dress-up event. It was make a costume out of black plastic sacks. Sounds weird. And so I made a dress out of bin liners.
Lady punk rocker.
Yes, but nobody batted an eyelid. It was just, oh, you look great, and that sort of slowly gave me more confidence. And my partner at the time, before I met my current partner, started going out with her, and she knew I was dressed in women's clothes and that. But what really started my own transition, she passed away 8 years ago, unfortunately. I've had a lot of...
You've had a bereavement, haven't you?
Quite a lot of bereavement in the past sort of 10, 15 years. But about 8 months after that, a friend came around and said, she already knew I cross-dressed at the time. She said, perhaps this is a cue to realise that you need to start living your life and get out there. So Mum was around one day. I said, I want to pursue transitioning. Even my mum said, I thought something like this would happen. She said, I'm fully supportive, so I'm very happy for you. And that started the process. So I went to the doctors, my local doctor at the time, and then she got me referred to see a psychiatrist to determine whether I was transgender or not. That's how the ball started rolling.
How do they decide? This is difficult for me because I met you
Yes.
as you are now. You're a woman. It is tricky for me to get my head around this.
Yes. Basically, the doctor refers you to see a psychiatrist, and they follow a series of questions to ask you and how you found your childhood and this, that and the other, and try and find a cause for it, and which there isn't. And
Did you find that a bit intrusive for what is quite a personal decision?
No, because at the end of the day, they have to make the right decision. They don't want to refer you and make the wrong decision and come back on them. But that was just the first level. They then refer you to what's called adult services. There's a transgender adult services at Nottingham. There's quite a few over the country. So you go along to there, and then you see what's called a psychotherapist. And you have 3 meetings, one a month for 3 months. One with one psychotherapist, one with another, and then a final meeting with both of them, with your partner at the time or a family member. The sort of questions they ask you about your childhood, as I said, and how you're leading your life, where do you see it going, and explain the situations and that. And then it's an awful thing, but at the third meeting, it's up to 2 people to decide whether you're transgender or not, and whether you receive treatment for hormones or surgery, or where you're going to go from there. So it's quite an odd process that somebody else is deciding who you are when you just want to be yourself.
Yeah, because you wouldn't think anybody would know better than you.
Exactly. As professionals do, they think they know better. But as I said, it is a big decision, because once you start on hormones, there's no going back. It makes you infertile. Even if you stop your hormones, you don't become fertile again.
Is that what they decided for you then?
Yes, they started me on hormones. That was... no, it was a pause for me, because the biggest hold up with me, because you have to, before they start you on hormones, you have to live minimum 3 months in your chosen gender, as in life, change your bank details, driving licence, all your details, and be working 24/7 in your chosen role for 3 months before they decide to let you onto hormones. And for me at the time, work was the biggest hold up. They just did not support me whatsoever.
What was your work at the time?
I was still driving. I still work with the same company. It's a company, I won't say name, but they deliver industrial gas cylinders for welding industry, that sort of thing. Driving for them at the time, and they were just so scared about losing customers. Rather than support their staff, they either moved me off the lorry into a different role. They just thought they wouldn't let me pursue it at the time. But kind of their hands were tied in the eyes of the law, that they had to allow me to transition if I wanted to. So that was difficult. And then 2 years after I started transitioning with the same company, the company was bought out. It was a family-owned business before that, but we were bought out by American company, worldwide American company, and their staff for support was completely different. In their eyes, staff came first. You looked after the staff, they looked after you. And since they've taken over, we've got a lot better staff retention now, but they support me absolutely fully. So obviously with my psychotherapy through the Nottingham Gender Clinic, they could see that I'd been working full time, and then they started me on hormones soon after that. You have to be on hormones so many years before minimum 2 years before they recommend you for any surgery, to make sure the hormones don't upset your body and upset your mind, because they do affect your mind. But hormones do affect you both physically and mentally. Physically, your body changes, you grow breasts, your muscle fat moves around, so you get thick hips, thinner waist. So from male to female, you grow a woman's body as such, or your fat moves around your body, and face changes. My face has got a lot thinner. It doesn't change your voice, unfortunately. It does the other way around. Female to male, it does. Their voice will change. Female to male, it can't. But also mentally, it changes as well. I mean, I've always been a very chilled out person. I'm fairly laid back. But since I've been on hormones, that's even more so. I'm so laid back. I'm much happier in my mind. I'm just out there living life. Just got to take life as you can and go for it. For me, it's so uplifting. I've been so happy ever since. I'm so bouncy and happy. It's infectious, and it's hard to put into words. I don't get so stressed out anymore. I'm just so relaxed all the time. Yes, we have bad days. We get wound up by things, but you are more chilled out.
Do you have monthly bad days?
No, it's not like...
Right, I'm thinking of PMT now.
No, you don't have monthly PMT, but the interesting thing is, before you have your surgery, you have to come off your hormones for a month before your surgery. Is to help stop the thrombosis or any complications through surgery. But basically, you go through mini menopause.
Oh,
You go
right.
through the menopause within a month, and apparently I was quite stroppy for that month. So my partner tells me, but in your own mind you don't think about it because you're just going through the process. But it's quite distressing because part of you's thinking, oh, more hormones, and you're stressing about that, and then your body's sort of changing a little bit where we get your hormones out of your system a little bit, but it's getting like a mini menopause within a month, 2 months, because then you can't start back on your hormones for another month after your surgery.
Right.
So you're basically 2 months without your hormones, and it's not like the menopause where it slowly drops off. You go cold turkey on your hormones where you've been on 2 years, and it's quite stressful. So I've been told. So I was a bit unbearable for a month or so, but been better since I started back on them.
Well, that's good. So a couple of years ago, Lisa, you actually got to the surgery stage.
Yes, got to surgery. It's between a year and 18 months wait. So a year before that, I had my final assessment at Nottingham, and they said, you've been on your hormones for so long, you've been living full time, you've got no problems, so we're going to recommend you for surgery. And that's a bit of a, oh my word. But for me, it was only a year's wait, because to try and cut down some of the NHS waiting times, because it's about an 18-month waiting list on the NHS. But they do try and cut it down. They've been transferring some work to a private hospital. It's done on the NHS, but it's done through a third party as such. And I was lucky enough to go with a doctor named Dr. Bellringer, and he's one of the most favoured ones in the country to do it. He's got the best name to do these surgeries. He does a lot of them. I waited a year. I got the go ahead in September 2015, and then I had the surgery on 15th September 2016.
Where did you have your surgery?
It was at Parkside Hospital. It's near Wembley in London. I had to go down a couple of times before to do your pre-ops, the normal things before any sort of surgery, and sign your waivers. And my partner and my mum come down with me that morning, dropped me off, and then they left at 12 o'clock, and I had my surgery at 2:30 in the afternoon. So I was there on my own, which is a little bit difficult, but because I was in a hospital for a week. Minimum week in hospital.
A week's quite a long time in hospital.
It is a long time, but it's not a small surgery, as you can understand. It's very, very intrusive. You get a lot of bruising. But basically, you're in there for a week, and obviously on the run up to the surgery, you got things going through your mind. Are you doing the right thing? This, that, and the other, because it is a massive operation. But I woke up. I think it was about 6 o'clock that night from the anaesthetics. Woke up about 6 o'clock, and I lifted the sheets, and even though I was covered in bandages, I knew I'd done the right thing. I had such a smile come across my face and thought, that looks right. It looks how it should have always been. As somebody I know calls it, to not have your deformity there. It's such a feeling. But I said, you're in hospital for a week, and it's very, very painful. My surgeon's nurse, she said, why do people find it so painful? She's a natural woman. So the surgeon one day put the bandaging on what they put on you, and she could only stand it for 20 minutes, and we've got it on for minimum 3 days in hospital. All this bandaging, because you've got basically a big bandage in your vagina, and then you've got strapping to keep that all in and everything in place while things heal. It's very, very uncomfortable. It might sound a bit crude, but it feels like you want to go for number 2 all the time because of the pressure inside you, because where it pushes, the pressure and all the swelling. Don't have to worry about a number 1 because you've got a catheter in, and you have an enema before you have your surgery, so you've got nothing. You don't want a number. It just feels like you want to all the time. So you got that uncomfortable. You don't know how to sit in bed, and you're just uncomfortable 3-4 days till they take the packing out.
They took all that out before they let you go home.
Yes, that comes out after 3 days, and then you start straight away on what's called dilating. There's no polite way of putting it. You basically get 2 8-inch long perspex, for lack of a better word, dildos. You've got a thin one and a thick one, and you put one in to start with, and then you take that out and put the other one in, and you have to not just push it in, you have to push it against yourself to keep the canal, your vaginal canal open.
This sounds a bit similar to incontinence training.
But this is to keep the vaginal canal open to the depth that you need to. So that's very, very painful.
So the natural thing would be for it to heal.
Yes, it'd heal up. But because you've got to physically force it against the top of your vaginal canal to keep it at the depth it needs to be, it is painful. And you have to do that 3 times a day for the first 8 weeks, and then twice a day for the next 8 weeks. And then after that, you slowly drop down over time because obviously things heal. I mean, I'm 2 years on now, and you do it once every 4 weeks just to keep
I suppose that's just a check that everything's
Just
fine.
yes, check everything's fine. I've never had any bleeding in a couple of years now. That soon clears up. So it's basically just to keep the depth there and make sure everything's still open.
Do you still have to take your hormones now?
Yes, hormones will be on for life. There's no way about that. On the run-up to surgery, as well as your pill hormones, you have an injection every 3 months to stop any testosterone. It's a cancer drug. Men have it if they've got prostate cancer. It stops the production of testosterone.
Oh, right.
I don't have to have that anymore because obviously I don't produce any testosterone. But the hormones I have to be on for life. That's just normal prescription. There's nothing special. You just get them through doctors on a normal prescription. There's nothing special about them. A generic HRT medication which women take anyway.
So it is, as a process,
yeah.
Is that finished now for you?
Yeah, all finished now. I've signed
Just
up.
the hormones?
Just the hormones now. Yeah. No follow-up surgery. I don't need any breast surgery because I was very lucky to have. I've got very well developed breasts. I'm a 38C. I'm not afraid to say it. Very happy with them because that's one of the big things for the go-ahead for surgery. They asked me, what did I expect? I said, I'd be happy with an A cup. Because I'm tall and slim, I'm 6'1", size 14, so I'm very slim and tall. I didn't want to be out of proportion.
No.
And I didn't have big expectations. I said, I'd be happy with an A cup. I'd been using chicken fillets before that to fill my bra at the time. So I didn't expect anything big, so I said I'm a 38C now, very full C cup.
I do know that they're not real chicken fillets.
Yes. My partner's very jealous, bless her. Yes, there's no follow-up to it because I don't need chest surgery. I haven't got a big Adam's apple that shows, so I'm not having any pro surgery. But yeah, you signed off you go back to Nottingham a year after your surgery just for a follow-up to make sure you're doing okay, your hormone levels are correct, because you're not having the injection to stop your testosterone, it might upset your hormone levels. But that's been all fine and signed off, and I don't have to go and see anybody, I don't have to justify myself to anybody. It's legally, my birth certificate says female now, because you can't do that till after you've had surgery. Or it's very difficult not to do it without surgery because you have to get certain people to sign that you're.
So did you have to change things like passport and
Yes, you have to do that
licence
from the very
and
beginning before they even start you on hormones. I mean, I haven't got a passport, but your driving licence you have to get changed, your bank details. The only thing you can't change straight away is your national insurance identification. That's still on my payslip. That said Mr. until I got my birth certificate changed. But that's not something people see day to day. But if I got stopped by the police, my driving licence to say Miss Lisa Louise Keane, it's got a lot of people don't know in the driving licence.
in the number.
Middle number, yeah. The middle number says 0 for men and 5 for female. I got that gender marker changed straight away.
There's an awful lot of information in that
Yes.
number, isn't there?
But yeah, get that changed straight away. But it said you have to get all these changed before they'll even start you on hormones. It said the only thing you can't change till after surgery is your birth certificate. Once you've had the surgeon write you a letter. That's a challenging process. You have to apply to what's called the gender recognition. Based in Leicester, you have to get a letter from your surgeon, a letter from your psychotherapist to say that you've been living in this role for 2 years, or minimum 2 years that you've had surgery. You have to have 2 years of evidence, pay slips, all of this, and then you pay a fee, you send that off to Leicester, and it's up to a panel you've never met in your life for them to say whether you can be a woman or not and get a gender recognition certificate, which is a bit of a bizarre process.
It does seem a bit bizarre, especially when you've got to provide evidence.
Yeah. No, they need photographic evidence.
Yeah.
They need pay slips. They obviously need the same evidence you provided to start on hormones, like your license, and prove that you changed your name, your depot notification. So much information for somebody to decide whether you can have a gender recognition certificate. And with that certificate, then you can reapply to get your birth certificate changed.
Do some people decide to do this and then they don't go ahead?
There is cases of it, yes.
Yeah.
It's basically a 2-year process from when you start on hormones to surgery. Some people say that should be dropped to a year. For me, I think it was about the right sort of time because you do need to be certain because the hormones change your mentality so much.
What would improve the process, in your opinion?
The general process to get to where you need to be for surgery, the psychotherapy, I think is necessary, personally. I think it's a process afterwards where you have to prove to a panel you've never met that you can get things changed, like your birth certificate, gender identity certificate, get your passport changed. Because your passport you can't always change before getting your gender recognition certificate, because your passport will always say what gender you were born as, not what you identified as. You can get it changed, but it's difficult without a gender recognition certificate. It's that process I think needs to change a little bit. That it doesn't necessarily need to be a panel you've never met. They don't know you. They just seen some paperwork to say you've had this. They don't know whether you're a woman. So you could have gone through surgery and they could say, no, you're not a woman. And to me, that's wrong. It should be your surgeon, your psychotherapist, your doctor that should decide that. But the process leading up to it, I think you do need that time to live in the role to make sure you are doing the right thing for you.
I suppose they've got to bring in at least one third party. It's a bit like an audit.
Yes.
Some sort of like a third party opinion.
Yes, fair enough. But to be a panel of 3 people you've never met.
Facing a panel of 3 people and making such an important decision.
But that's the thing, you don't face that panel.
Oh, right.
No, you send all your documentation off by post, and then you get 4 weeks later, you get a decision when they're going to sit and decide, and then you just get a letter through the post saying yes or no. So they've never met you.
Is there an appeal? I mean,
there is an appeal process. I do know people have appealed and they've been successful. To me, it just seems bizarre that it's decided by somebody who's never met. They've never met you. They're just going for a piece of paper. And it's up to them where to decide.
What sort of support is there for you now?
For me personally, I've had a lot of support from the racing community, line dance community, through my family. I mean, I've been very lucky with my family. I've had fantastic support from my mum. She lives locally now. My current partner, who I'm with now, who also sings in the choir, she's been with me right from the very beginning. From when I had my first assessment at the psychiatrist's, we literally just got together then. We hadn't been together long, or just had it. So she's been with me right from the beginning. So she's seen me in both ways, as I am now. So for me, I have been very lucky with family and friends.
And is there an official raft of support anywhere?
There's several There's a centre at Leicester, LGBT centre at Leicester. They have adult and children's services there. As for anything in Grantham, no, there's no help support groups or anything locally. But there is support out there, but you generally have to travel to find it.
Like you say, you've been very lucky, but if you hadn't been that lucky, it would be quite hard for you to find support around here.
It would be very difficult, yes. I mean, yes, you got support like Facebook now, and there is groups on Facebook and social media and this, that and the other, but having a face-to-face contact or somebody you can talk about is very important, because not everybody has the same support in family, and they go for it on their own. I think that's probably where a lot of the high suicide comes from, because people haven't got that support either from family or from their doctors, or there needs to be more. I think there's a lot more support for the gay community, which I don't think is wrong, it's perfectly right, but for the transgender community, I think there is a lot lacking unless you live in a major city like Leicester.
Is that just numbers?
Yes, I mean, I do know of a few other transgender people locally in Grantham, but I don't know them to face to talk to, but I just know of them. I think it is number, but then again, there's 3,000 people a year waiting to have surgeries. That's not a small minority of people. I think there does need to be more support generally, so people know about it, not necessarily to seek services, so people know there is services there if they need them.
I was just thinking, if you've gone through all that and you haven't got a support network, you need a point of contact, don't you?
Yeah.
In case you're having a bad day or
Yes.
a bad week or whatever, just somebody to talk to. Thank you very much for talking to me, Lisa, about this. I know it's not easy to talk about, and I know you're a newlywed as well.
Yes, got married to my partner on the 5th of November, so very happily married, same-sex marriage. Yeah, both very happy. That was after a recent health scare. I had a stroke scare. Singing rock choir actually on a Saturday. Went outside because I wasn't feeling well, and next minute I know I've keeled over and rushed off to Grantham. One CAT scan later, and then off to Lincoln because they thought I'd had a stroke, so that was a bit of a scare. So when I got home, I proposed to my partner. I thought, yeah, let's get married, and we got it done quite quickly after that, so let's get it done.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, what do you see for yourself in the future? I mean, you've got so many interests and hobbies, your work and everything.
We don't know where the week goes sometimes with different things, but I'd like to take the photography on more. Perhaps slowly dwindle down the driving, cutting down my days a week so I can do more photography on a Friday leading into the weekend. And after that, just living life, really. I think that's what I wanted to say. It doesn't matter what you are, you just live in life like everybody else. And
You just want a life you're really comfortable with,
yes,
don't you?
Life I'm really comfortable with. I'm so happy in life at the moment. I have been for a couple of years now, basically really since I've had my surgery. For me, it was just like a light bulb going off. I've never looked back. I've been so happy. I've done different, like we've started the choir now, or 2 years ago. It's just doing different things and just living life how you want to, not how somebody else decides you should be. Nobody fits into a box, do they?
No, they absolutely don't.
Who's right to say, oh, you should do this, you should do that, because that's what I think. We're all different. Everybody's different. It's a big world out there. You've got to get out there and enjoy it and live it how you want to live it. So yes, I want to take the photography further. people don't know I'm transgender unless I tell them. They don't need to know. For me, I'm just living my life as a normal woman and just putting myself out there and getting on with it. It's
empowering, I would think.
It is. It is very empowering. It just gives you so much inner energy. You just.
Well, I just want to say thank you, Lisa, for coming in.
Thank you for having me
and talking about that today.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you.